What if you could quit your job with just one home in the woods and $50,000 saved? It's honestly possible depending on what your lifestyle is. I'm not the most uh, bougie person ever. My name's Jeff. I'm owner of Teeco Company. I own 16 homes myself, plus our company helps people buy real Airbnbs all over America. And most of our clients will start with around $50,000 saved, and they'll use this to put like a 10% down on a vacation home somewhere that you might not have heard of, like West Virginia. Right here, here's one of my cabins that I bought last year for $170,000 down. $170,000 and $20,000 down, and it's made at least $70,000 so far. And honestly, it's one of our worst performers. And if you can just imagine that, but doing better and understanding that management is not going to be completely passive. This is like a semi-active / passive real estate investment. But as you get better and you make more money, you can actually hire management out. So sometimes people will manage your house for like 10 to 25%. From a home that has a mortgage of maybe like $700 to $2,000, it's likely going to be very sustainable. And today I'm just going to talk about how to do this, and we're going to start from the very beginning in my story. Again, my name's Jeff. I was a pharmacist since 2017. I used to make six figures, $170,000 my best year. Made a living taking care of patients and people and helping them take care of their health. And now I help other pharmacists, other healthcare workers, other six-figure earners, other people who are just starting off their real estate investing career. Your basic average Joe, just like me, have a retirement plan and a way to live their life that doesn't involve just working every single day, 40 hours every single week, 60 hours every single week for me, plus with a bunch of commuting time to make ends meet, to make a living. Especially with inflation, tariffs just around the corner, scares of recession, no one really has like a good idea of where to start. And for me, I like these high cash flow rural Airbnbs. One, because they're extremely affordable. Again, $100,000 to $250,000 purchase price, like the cabin I just showed you earlier. And that's not the only one, obviously. There's things like these other three here I added into there. And they're on track to make around $70,000 every single year per property. And a lot of them already have over $100,000 locked in bookings. So the first thing you're going to do, though, to get started is figure out what your market is. And to do so, you can just do a quick Zillow search. So by putting in the filters like, hey, maybe my max purchase price that I can afford right now myself is 10% down on a $250,000 home that's really turnkey, so not a lot of work to be done. And look at the interior, look at the floors, make sure the walls are good, make sure you do your inspections and appraisals. Make sure it's at least a 3.2 or 4.2 probably. If you can add value, if you can do a little bit more work like I do, that's always good, because technically what I like to do is the BRRRR method, but I like to do with rural high cash flow Airbnbs. So I'll buy like really run down abandoned homes that no one wants in the middle of nowhere for like $100,000, $170,000. Maybe put like $20,000 to like $50,000 in to renovate it. Usually paint and flooring and like adding decks and upgrading electrical for hot tubs and saunas. But if you don't want to do any of that and you feel a little bit scared and are nervous, you can buy a turnkey. Just make sure you put in the filter at the bottom of Zillow turnkey. If turnkey is not what you want and you're okay to handle some repairs, and maybe like your issue is you don't have enough money or you're not qualified for a bank, put seller financing in the filters. That means the owner has a lot of equity in the house and they're able to actually hold the loan for you. And it's beneficial for them. People don't realize, because it's expensive sometimes to sell a home completely on the tax side. So if they're willing to take the risks, they have a lot of equity in the deal. You are an honest borrower. You're an honest person who's going to buy this house, who's going to make it work, make it operate, and do a good job. You are a very good person to partner with someone who's eligible for seller financing, because again, they don't have to pay a bunch of taxes. Plus, you're not qualified for a home, so you're going to need some way to finance this house and actually own it. So you two would be great partners. You make sure that the market or house that you're buying in has a good amount of tourism or some sort of reason that people are going to be visiting this place. So for example, if you're in like New Gorge National Park, where I'm at a lot, there's over 2.2 million visitors just to that one national forest. And if you go to like Monongahela National Forest, There's like 4 to 6 million visitors. And if you look at all the state parks in the area, there's also more visitors in that area. There's also places like South Carolina, like Spartanburg, South Carolina, where my family has been for ages, like 30 years plus. We love it there. You can't actually run Airbnbs in the city, so make sure you call the city and county and figure out where you're actually allowed to run these short-term rentals. But there's also places like Toledo, Ohio. Again, these 10% vacation home loans where you plan on living in these homes for a little bit and then renting it out on the remaining days. It'll make it easier for you to actually get into a deal. And if you know those markets have a lot of visitation, there's going to be reasons people go and travel there. That's going to be your source of consistent renters. The next thing you're going to do is actually close on a home. So once you get your agent, you go to Zillow, you find your 5-star agents, you go and use the lenders that maybe they recommend. If you don't have a lender that they recommend that can get you these 10% vacation home loans, sometimes I've had agents say, no, you can't do it. You have to live in the house a little bit longer. Those are probably the wrong agents for you. And those are probably the wrong lenders. They don't understand that, most of the rules for these banks is that you just need to live in a home for 14 days. Like, no one lives in their vacation home more than their primary home. It's called a vacation home loan or a second home loan. So most people only require 14 days, or most banks only require 14 days of stays at the house. You can use a lender from the Zillow website, or you can go to another website I use very commonly called rabu.com. There's a bunch of lenders that are specialized in lending to short-term rental hosts. And I think there's I forgot what it's called, like West Capital or something like that, somewhere on there that actually really wants to give you money for these types of homes. But yeah, if you go on the rabu.com, that's rabbu.com website, there's so many things you could do on there. Like, you can find top Airbnb markets on there. You can figure out what a home is estimated to make. For me, one thing that's to keep in mind about those estimators is they're always underestimating. And because the way we're going to discuss today is actually by becoming like the best Airbnb host in the area, you're going to want to make sure you look at the 75th or 90th percentile Airbnbs, or the top performers in whatever market you decide to look at. So you go to Zillow, you find your agent, you find your lender, close on the home, and now you're ready to design. You can either design yourself. If you're really good, you can go on to our Teeco.com website, Teeco.co website, or you can go on my Instagram, Jeff Choi, shameless plug, and follow and see some of our designs. I'm constantly posting on our stories. Or you can go places like Summerlet Homes, or what was another one? I guess it's just all I can remember at the top of my head right now. Summerlet Homes plus our company, Teeco.co. Figure out who can design your home. If you have a friend who's really good designing and they just have a keen eye and can do things like make it look nice, it might be worth it in the beginning to have them try. But keep in mind, you are investing quite a bit of money. You don't want it to be a bad rental. So if you have a poor design, you don't have the right amenities like hot tub, saunas, string lights, patio, furniture, grill, that might be a deal breaker for these types of markets, and you definitely want to be the most competitive. So just make sure they're taking that into account. And honestly, most of the times I love, again, doing DIY. I'm a big encourager and your biggest probably cheerleader of like, yeah, do it yourself. But in this case, because it's so important, a lot of times design, I would say just hire it out. And you can find some more affordable ones that are like maybe $5,000, $3,000 that are Airbnb designers. We're definitely on the more luxury side, so it is a little more expensive to work with us, and it's honestly because we want the most perfect rentals and the best experience for everyone we work with, including ourselves. Like, whenever I use our own company to design homes, I just want it to be absolutely perfect, which is why it's definitely on the more luxury side. It's going to cost a little bit pretty penny, but we have tons of proof that it's a high performance Airbnb every single time. So you get your designer in place. You can use, if you decide you want to ignore my advice and just go on the DIY route, or have someone who has a really good eye take care of it, you can use spoke.com, spoak.com, to actually design your place. You can also get ideas from other Airbnbs in the area using rabu.com to see what the top performers are designing their home like. Get the home designed. And this, honestly, the process should only take about 2 months. Hopefully there's not a bunch of renovations based off what I told you to do earlier, buy a turnkey home. But if you're an experienced builder or you're an experienced DIY renovator like I am, then yeah, go ahead. But just make sure you are renovating fast, because holding costs are a real thing. So if you're taking a whole year to renovate a house, which it normally should never ever take that long in these rural markets. You can get permits fast, sometimes within a day to build. You're making excuses essentially if you're taking longer than like 2 to 3 months most of the times. Paint carpet does not take a long time. And then just make sure that whoever designed the house keeps that paint selection and floor selection in mind, or even have them pick it for you. Design the place. You'll have everything sent over to the house. You'll maybe go and check out our starter pack. It's only $1 on our website, the Teeco starter pack. It has like how you can set up a home within 7 days, or you can watch some of my older videos down on this channel about me setting up homes really fast within 7 days. You get that going, you find the right design team using something called Turno.com, Turno app, or you just go on Google and figure out who the local cleaners that are 5-star rated or highly rated that can clean your Airbnb consistently. That would probably work. And then you can use things like Schlage on-code locks to automate the entrance, so people don't have to actually like hand keys off. You can use Ring cameras for you to monitor guests coming in and out. You can use Emerson Sensi thermostats or Ecobee or whatever smart thermostat you want to adjust your temperature throughout the world, because especially during wintertime, a lot of these places in the Midwest, they could get really cold and your pipes can freeze. So you just want to make sure you have a way to monitor your temperature. Cleaners will check your hot tubs, cleaners will check your saunas, they'll do your turnover, they'll make sure that whenever something breaks, that it's reported to you through the Turno app, or if they have some sort of other system to tell you that something is broken so you can report it to Airbnb and get your money back for any broken furniture. You do that a couple times, maybe add some value, wait a little bit, you refinance that home and buy a few more. And then it honestly, again, 10% down for a down payment on a $100,000 home. If you're lucky enough to find something like that, it's a little bit harder to find those, but I have done it. Or say $150,000, 10% down, you ask for seller credits and repairs. Maybe you can get your down payment down to like $12,000. That's amazing. Hopefully you have another $40,000 for like furniture and design fees and costs and renovations. But if you don't, no problem. If you have great credit, apply for business credit cards, and you can honestly get up to like $50,000 in a business line of credit, improving your spending ability on these homes for this real estate deal to make sure that it's extremely profitable to $100,000 versus just the $50,000 you had saved. And if you do this on a long horizon, each property or deal that I've noticed that I buy adds around $2,000 to $4,000 every single month. And if you buy just one, for some people $4,000 is good enough. But if you're a little more frugal, a little bit more bougie, and you're like, gosh, I really want like 6 figures, just buy like 3 or 4 or 5 of these properties and you'll be sitting pretty for quite some time. And if you want to like build a larger empire and hire off management, that's totally fine too and doable. But honestly, that's my biggest advice for anyone who wants to get started today and buy their first high cash flowing rental Airbnb anywhere.